Hello and what's up guys? In this video, an explosive revelation has just struck the ADC and it is coming from deep inside the party itself. The top member is now exposing what he calls the northern political gang, a powerful cabal accused of hijacking the ADC, not to rescue Nigeria, but to rescue themselves. He says these men who claim to be forming a coalition are nothing more than desperate politicians trying to revive their personal economies, and they are not even real members of the ADC. He dropped serious allegations, 20 million naira offers made to ADC state chairmen to step down, fake decamping events, and even a fake spokesperson parading as the voice of the party. He didn't stop there. He called out former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, accusing him of always fighting against Southern candidates for his own gain. Now he is asking a bold question: if Atiku truly wants justice for Nigeria, why can't he support a Southern president for once? Guys, I will let you watch this video for yourself so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. Also, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to this channel if you haven't already done so. Take a look, guys, and remember to share your thoughts after watching.
Dear ADC family and my fellow Nigerians, I find it necessary to once again address you on the recent events within the ADC. But before I get into that, let me state the following. I am an Igbo man from Onchubo in Delta State of Nigeria. I am a full-blooded Nigerian and have the right to aspire to the highest office in the land. The presidency is not and will never be the birthright of one section of this country, no matter how much propaganda they spread. There's a lot of deliberate misinformation going on by these agents of destabilization, masquerading as a political coalition. There is a clear difference between a political coalition and a political gang. The first has noble ideals, while the gang seeks power for personal gains. What we have here today is a gang unable to survive outside political office, seeking to hijack the ADC as a means to revive their personal economies. They are truly on a rescue mission, but it's a mission to rescue themselves from the harsh economic realities which they themselves created for our nation. They accuse me of being a paid spokesperson for President Tinubu, and my response is this: it will be an honor to be a spokesperson for the president of the largest black nation on earth, but unfortunately, that's not who I am. Political jobbers who have no visible means of livelihood are always eager to tar others, but I remain unfazed. They, with the active support of their cohorts in the media, now say they are the ADC. They are not. I can call myself the president of America till I am blue in the face, but it doesn't make it so. They are offering some of the state chairmen as much as 20 million naira to resign their positions, which goes to show that their intentions are not honorable. My question to this gang is this: if you succeed in paying off all the ADC party officials at state and local government levels to resign, what next? Our constitution still doesn't allow you to assume their offices. This is the plain and simple truth. Your money will get you nowhere in the ADC. If you have to build your rescue mission on fraudulent misrepresentation, it just shows who you really are. The imposter who claims he's their spokesperson made bold to say that I am merely the former presidential candidate of the party and not a party official. His pedestrian argument is that only party officials can challenge party affairs. This is the same elitist ignorance that brought Nigeria to this point, where we believe Nigeria is only for the rich and powerful. Bolaji, please be informed that every member of our party, no matter how poor you people have made them, have a say in the ADC. This fake coalition is staging events in different parts of the country where they pay poor Nigerians to say they are decamping from other parties to the ADC. This is the typical strategy of these old politicians, and we have had enough of it. They need to sing a new song. Former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, a man whose antecedents clearly shows he doesn't believe anyone from the southern part of Nigeria is deserving of being president of Nigeria, orchestrated this charade for his personal benefit. He almost truncated President Obasanjo's return for a second term because he believed the seat was his. President Jonathan suffered the same fate, and then after 8 years of late President Buhari as president, the same Atiku Abubakar believed it was morally right for him to be the presidential flag bearer of the PDP in the last presidential elections. This was most unjust and unfair, and led to the current disintegration of that party. He's now using some charlatans to deceive former Governor Peter Obi that only he, Atiku, has what it takes to win an election because he can get majority of the North to vote for him. This is really uncharitable of him. If the former vice president says my assertions are not true and that all he wants is a better Nigeria, I then challenge him today to publicly declare that equity demands that the presidency should stay in the South for another 6 years. He can then support any Southern candidate of his choice. He will never do this. But if he chooses to continue on this slippery slope, I want to reiterate that the ADC is not for sale, and it's not an old people's home. We are a party that believes Nigeria needs fresh faces, fresh ideals, and fresh ideas. This current political war is the war of the old for the old. It's not our fight. In the ADC, Nigeria and Nigerians will always remain our objective. Thank you, and God bless. I'm not taking questions. Thank you. It's a good question. First and foremost, let me say this. The people we are talking about are not members of the ADC. Yesterday, we all saw former Vice President Atiku resign from the PDP almost 2 weeks after they came and they said they were part of the ADC. As I speak to you today, former Governor Peter Obi is still a member of Labour Party. If we look at what's his name, El Rufai, he's still a member of the SDP. Former Governor Rotimi Amechi is still a member of the APC. So the people who came together to say that they are forming a coalition and they are taking over the ADC are people who belong to other parties. They are not in the ADC. They just came to cause this upheaval in the ADC. So if you're in my shoes, am I supposed to watch people who are not members of our party go through someone who claimed he was the chairman, even though he was not the chairman, and say they've taken over the party structure to prosecute their political ambitions? Absolutely not. I came into a party of common Nigerians who were in that party, even though they had no visible person in that party, but they still stayed in that party because of what they believed were the possibilities of that party. Should I not defend these people? Should I look the other way so that so-called big men, so-called powerful people can come and say, you know what, we'll take this party, we use it as a structure to then fight the sitting president? Or should I defend the interest of a party that made me presidential flag bearer? The honorable thing to do is to stand and fight. I'm fighting for all party men and women of the ADC. Said that the lower court's ruling removing Nwosu saying Nwosu not chairman was in error. We then went to the Supreme Court. In their media briefing, I saw the state chairman of Kogi State, and I want you guys to investigate this. The state chairman from Kogi State, who was removed twice in the last 1 year by this same Nwosu, letters were written to INEC, investigate this, coming to say that they have been planning this coalition for 18 months. If they were planning coalition for 18 months, the same Kogi State chairman signed an agreement just 2 months ago with Nwosu and INEC and the ADR person resolving their issues, and yet he made bold to tell Nigerians that for 18 months they had been planning this coalition. They are presenting a tissue of lies to Nigerians to justify what they try to do. But I'm telling you today that these people have no hold on the ADC. Their hold on the ADC is just in the realm of the media. But the ADC as a party currently has no chairman because of the lacuna Nwosu created. We expect now that INEC will give us guidance on how we go about our conventions, because our constitution never envisaged a situation where we will stay without an NWC. It never envisaged this kind of situation. So only the court and INEC can give us guidance on how we can create this. So what these desperate people saw was this lacuna, and they felt, oh, this is a party. After all, if you remove the 4 parties, APC, PDP, Labour, and NNPP, right? This party came 5th in the last presidential elections. So it is the next best thing to hold on to prosecute their agenda. And that's why they came to this party. I doubt if you knew the ADC before I came to the ADC and joined the ADC and ran under the platform of the ADC. Most Nigerians didn't know the ADC, but then they knew the ADC because I defeated Kingsley Mohalo in the primaries. Then people got to know the party. And as such, I'll tell you this. Yes, ADC is popular but there's a difference between popularity and notoriety. Nigerians are talking about ADC, the party that seeks to upstage the president. And Nigerians are talking about ADC as being the front for a coalition. Mind you, we have always been in the forefront of opposition. But the difference is why a lot of people won't hear about the ADC's opposition is that our opposition comes with opposition. We don't believe that the job of opposition is just to stay and be insulting the government of the day. If you want to go viral in Nigeria, all you have to do, even as a market woman, is just stay and make a video and insult Tinubu and insult APC and insult this. And the question I always ask people around me is this: at the end of the insult, what next? 2 weeks now, mind you, for the last 2 weeks, they came and said, or 3 weeks, they came and said that they are now the opposition, the coalition. They've taken over ADC and they are going to chase out President Tinubu from office. You've not heard these men tell you this is what they want to do about the economy. I heard Bolaji saying the other day that they are going to reduce price of fuel to 100 naira, whatever it was, and they're going to take dollar to 1 naira to the dollar. The same thing they told us when the APC came in. They're saying the same thing again. They did not tell you what they are going to do about the economy, about housing, infrastructure deficit, healthcare. The former president of Nigeria died a few days ago in a foreign hospital. You have not heard any of them address the situation of what they will do about the myriad problems we are facing in Nigeria. All they tell you is this: President Tinubu has got to go. Okay, he has got to go. Tell us what you will do differently, because that's why we're here in the first place. That's why we have the problems we have in Nigeria, because we have never questioned these people. When they come and tell us bogus stories, nobody questions them. That's how they chased Jonathan out of office. Nobody questioned them. Today, when you are paying your rent today, you don't remember the stories they told you and how you brought these people into power. When you are trying to pay children's school fees, when you don't have food on your table, you don't remember all the lies they told you. And where we are today, they've come with another bunch of lies and nobody's questioning them. Question their stories, but before any story, ask them. Anytime you confront these people, anytime you interview them, ask them, what will you do differently about the economy? What will you do to ensure that the Nigerian who leaves school today, that he has a job within the next 1 year, the next 2 years? What will you do to ensure that our hospitals improve, that our doctors and nurses are not leaving Nigeria for the UK, Canada, and America? What will you do to end banditry or kidnapping? I forgot to pose this challenge to Vice President Atiku. The media, you are all reporting almost on a daily basis the killings in Plateau, in Benue, by Fulani people coming from other countries, right? You report these stories. Some of you camouflage and say the farmer header clashes. How many dead so far? 1,000, more than 1,000. In the last 10 years, how many dead so far? What has Vice President Atiku Abubakar said about his kit and kin killing innocent Nigerians? What has he said? The young lady was killed in Sokoto last time. Someone, his social media manager, made a tweet. They pulled it down immediately because it was not politically correct for him to speak against his people. That is the man who aspires to the highest office of the land. We know the truth as Nigerians, but we never want to speak to the truth. We never want to speak to the truth. He says it is a coalition to upstage a president of Southern ethnic stock. That's fine. We are all complaining as Nigerians. I'm aspiring to office. I'm running against President Tinubu. But I believe it's morally and equitably right that anybody from a major party to go against this president should be from the South. There's nothing wrong with that. It's equitable. It's justice. That's all we ask. So you have in that coalition people they put around P2B. So they tell P2B, you cannot win, you cannot do it. Only if you become Atiku's vice. What's rubbish? That's balderdash. He has all it takes to aspire. He has all it takes to win an election. He has the brains. So, but People, what they do, they stake people around him so that anybody he goes to, they tell him you cannot win. That is their strategy, and that's how they have forced him into a situation where he accepts to be the vice presidential running mate to Atiku Abubakar. That's what they tell us every day. That's what you, the media, are doing when you have this reportage that seeks to suggest that I, as an Igbo man, I can never be president of Nigeria. Why? Why? Don't I pay my taxes? Doesn't my Nigerian passport say I'm a Nigerian? Doesn't my birth certificate say I'm a Nigerian? Why can't I aspire to the highest office in the land? Am I anybody's slave? That's why we won't allow this. So no matter how they tell you that when you speak against them that you are Simbu spokesperson, it's an honor. It's an honor. As long as what I speak about is the right to the southern part of Nigeria to aspire to hold office for 8 years. Watch again. Let me tell you, look into this again. 8 years of President Buhari. Please Google this. Tell me how many statements Atiku Abubakar made to speak against that government, to challenge that government. We see all these statements today challenging a southern president. Because the southern president is nothing. Google and see how many statements he made. Then you know what you can do? Google my statements. Watch my videos. I challenge that presidency. 8 good years. But you can't see what if they said anything. If you did not speak against President Buhari in 8 years of the economic disintegration of Nigeria, of the structural disintegration of Nigeria, how dare you then speak? Because the man happens to be a southern president, and because you know what, we southerners are weaker, you can overrun the country. We need to start speaking truth to power in this country. This is no longer acceptable. We know the truth. We all know the truth. You all know this truth. Speak this truth.
Okay.
But the ideas and ideals, we stand for something in the ADC. Next question, please.
Okay. I am Henry Umora, report for London. There are statements and...
Thank you. Good question. Who loses if the courts grind ADC to a halt? Nigerians lose. But I can assure you that they will not succeed. The courts will hear and earnest all matters pertaining to the ADC, and I'll tell you what will happen. When they determine that ADC is not a suitable platform for them, they will start looking for other platforms. This is why these men and women have not resigned from their various parties. They are just trying their luck with ADC. Of course, you know, they went to SDP. You saw them immediately after my press statement a week ago or so. They were all on TV stations. I saw Rotimi Amechi saying that, oh, they are still pursuing ADA to register ADA. They are saying that they are pursuing other things, that they have other options. ADC was just a smoke screen. They are doing trial by error. They have tried SDP didn't work. They will come here and try also, and I'm telling them this is not the party for you. If you want to pursue your political ambition, stay within your party. Solve the problems in your party. I could have left ADC immediately when we started this rubbish last time, but I stayed here. It's fashionable for people to come to the APC, not so. I could have stayed and come to the APC and joined the ruling party, but I've stayed within my party with all the challenges because I believe that it's important to build structures. No matter how difficult a proposition is, you build those structures. So those structures, it might not be today, it might not be tomorrow, but at some point we'll get where we're going to. I stay to build my party. They should stay and build their parties. Next question, please.
The second one. Is it this similar
No, tell you what, right? Those who they can buy, they are rich. Those who they can't buy, they don't bother to reach. Next question.
Probably know by now that the former Vice President Atiku Abubakar has resigned from the People's Democratic Party, a party he first became a member of in 1998 as one of the founding fathers. He served 2 terms as Vice President of Nigeria under the PDP and was the party's presidential candidate twice. He also dumped the PDP 3 times since 1998. But he says he's leaving this time because the party has diverged from its foundational principles. And in a subsequent interview on Arise News, Mr. Atiku's spokesman, Paul Ibe, said that some PDP party members were now working openly with the ruling APC party. And this was one of the reasons that Atiku left, and that it wasn't about any ambition to run in the 2027 presidential election. So how is the PDP reacting to this latest punch in the gut. With more on this, I'm joined now in the studio by the party's Deputy National Publicity Secretary, Ibrahim Abdullahi. Good to see you again.
Thank you, Mr. Charles, and thank you for having me.
Thank you very much indeed for coming in. I mean, how consequential is the resignation of the former Vice President Atiku Abubakar for the PDP? He's a major departure, isn't he? I mean, it really must at the very least disillusion members of the PDP.
That's not correct, Mr. Charles. I don't think it comes with any consequence if he will be doing it the fourth time, like you did mention in the beginning of, doing at the background. He is a person who is given to, driving and pursuing his ambition with every vigor. And there's nothing wrong in the face of law. But we as a party are not deterred. We have not lost any sleep. Atiku Abubakar will be doing it the fourth time now. And if he said the other previous instances were not as justified as this present one, then it leaves much to be desired in his commitment to the party. But suffice to say, PDP is moving on. We are beginning to get our house together. If only you know the number of persons that are calling to congratulate the PDP for his exit, because a lot of persons who all along wanted to identify with the PDP, but were apprehensive of his involvement for the simple reason that as long as he remained within the party, all the times he will get the ticket. It doesn't matter if the zoning favors or not. And a lot of persons are now calling across the strata, saying that now you people seem to be getting it right, and by the grace of God, you will cross the bridge for the first time. Since those of them who kept constituting club on the wheel of the progress for running the party are giving way. So we bid him farewell, let him go and try somewhere else. I only pray he will not fail in his promise by coming back after the so-called coalition, hit the rocks, which is going to be the case ultimately.
But I mean, let's be honest. I mean, you're talking in sort of microcosm specifically about him.
Yeah.
But there are bigger implications, aren't there? I mean, so many people have left the PDP. Some would say that the very soul of the party has been tremendously diminished.
That's not correct. I told you earlier that some of those persons are the ones that are exiting because they are standing in, Mr. Charles, in this very forum. In many of the interviews I have had with you, you did ask me in one of it if Atiku's insistence to run in 2023 did not divide our party substantially for his going to. And I did tell you at that time it probably did. But we expected him, having gotten the ticket for the presidency, to be able to manage the situation better, which we truly did not see in him. And that's why some of us identify with the G5, as it were, because certainly if you have the ticket, it's beholden on you to deploy all the arsenals at your disposal. Tinubu would not have lost that election, even if he was not contesting in PDP. Like we saw in 2023, he came from the ruling party and he sprang surprised, for his party, the APC. So many of us in-house expected that Atiku Abubakar would not celebrate the loss of Peter Obi, the same Peter Obi that they are rallying now into the coalition. We only fear and advise Peter Obi to be very cautious and careful because that's a contraption. One would not expect them to lose, Kwankwaso in Kano. We would not also have expected, as a presidential flag bearer, with that measure of experience, to have lost the G5 governors, led by Nyesom Wike. And even after the concession by Nyesom Wike, Atiku Abubakar was in the position to have specified these persons to be able to galvanize this support, to demonstrate how hungry we were to win that election again. Because all of the chances were there for PDP to take back, the soul of this country, at hand. But Atiku Abubakar bungled that opportunity because of a few elements around him who kept prodding him that you're already a president in waiting either way. And I'm talking about the likes of our former chairman, Iochia Ayu, and a few elements around Atiku who kept goading him on. That look, you have won the election, don't worry, don't lose any sleep about this person. If only he had managed that situation carefully, chances are that PDP would have been in power today and we would have taken back the control and salvaged Nigeria from this despair and despondency in the land. But it's unfortunate. So whatever you see happening around the PDP, substantially these people battered the problem, and if they are exiting, we bid them farewell. I only wish they would not come back like I did say earlier. That's just the situation.
You mentioned that you were cautioning Peter Obi to be careful about the coalition. I mean, there have been rumors going around that the PDP is trying to woo him back. Is that a fact?
Yes, it's our product. We want to get him back indeed, and because he's a very, very, great capital for any political party. The truth of the matter, if he had not gone the way he did in the last, dispensation and proved that mettle to be able to generate over 6 million, in spite of the rigging and the frustration of his chances in many of the, states, Peter Obi is truly a political capital, no doubt about it, and every political party that will have the opportunity of getting him, it will be to their advantage. And certainly PDP is not losing that effort. We are also making that effort in the belief that in the fullness of time we might get him, and it will add more to the chances of PDP.
And what about Nyesom Wike? Is he an asset or is he a drag on the PDP at the moment? I mean, he's straddling two parties, isn't he? Well, essentially.
That's right. The last time I checked, he's still a member of the PDP. He hasn't come out to denounce his membership, and even if it's coming with some disadvantage, like many have observed.
What kind of disadvantage?
A lot of persons will say that he is also another albatross, to PDP.
So the PDP would be better off if he packed his bags and left, basically. That's what I'm inferring from what you're saying.
Probably, because to be honest with you, those who stand against the chances of the PDP or have been doing things that will not promote the interests of the PDP are not necessarily within the PDP. And as a party, anyone who will constitute clog on its wheel of progress is better out of the PDP, so the PDP will get itself together and be able to bring back that, democratic hope for Nigerians yet again. So certainly, if Nyesom Wike is not going to be to the advantage of the PDP, which many argue, then he can also bid PDP farewell so that he stand wherever he is and do his bid. But certainly the PDP will not have one person, and there's not a single person that has that capacity to put PDP to shame. Whatever they must have done, we previously had a committee in place, which we're still reviewing, to deal with those dissenting voices, those who have taken another decision and have done things that will amount to anti-party. And Wike is said to be one of them for the number of petitions we have received.
So why don't you just fire him? Expel him from the party?
Once the committee comes up with its recommendation in that light, certainly there will be no stopping us from doing so. We would get rid of them all.
Right. But I mean, is the PDP, and you speak very confidently and very authoritatively, and I have to say very impressively.
Thank you.
I mean, for a party that many people believe is on its knees, I mean, is there any reflection taking place within because these are kind of bravado words that we're hearing from you. I mean, are you guys sitting back and really, reflecting on what is happening to the party? With Atiku, for example, I mean, that's just one person. The fact that virtually all the founding fathers and the original members are going or are gone, and so many people have lost faith in the party. I mean, one of the reasons Atiku gave for leaving is that the party has diverged from its foundational principles. That was the same thing that people like Emeka Ihedioha has said. That's the same thing that Dele Momodu said, who has just left as well. And a whole slew of others. I mean, they can't all be wrong. And I mean, according to Atiku's spokesman Paul Ibe, some PDP party members were now working openly with the ruling APC party. And this is one of the reasons that Atiku left. And you have to give it to him in terms of the potential credence of what he's saying. If you guys are allowing Nyesom Wike to remain in the party and is openly saying he's going to work to bring, President Tinubu back. I mean, is that what is happening in the PDP, that they're openly working with the APC, or do you think that his departure is specifically focused, as some of your colleagues have said, on his quest to run for the presidency?
That's clearly it, Charles. There's no other reason. Okay, in 2006, when he left for the first time to contest under the ACN, was the foundational values of the PDP eroded at that time? When he tried again in 2011 against Goodluck Jonathan, even refusing the president then, sitting president, the right of first refusal, were the foundational values of PDP eroded at that time. When he tried again in 2015, went and supported the APC to bring Muhammadu Buhari in power, where the foundational values of PDP eroded. So when he goes now, he would find, this is what the lawyer would call an alibi, finding an excuse from nowhere, to justify action. If he doesn't get his ambition promoted in the same coalition, it's as dead as arrival. He's not a member. All that Atiku is obsessed with is to contest for the president of Nigeria at all costs. And when a person begins to think that he's indispensable in a movement, then it leaves much to be desired, even in his sincerity, in that mission. So by now, one would be expecting Atiku Abubakar to have called it off, to have, raised some other successors to say, 3 decades after, he's still aspiring for the presidency. It mustn't be you. If you can't see anybody all along this, then it's unfortunate. So PDP is not losing any sleep.
Well, to be fair to him, we don't know. I mean, his spokesman said he didn't leave the PDP because of his ambition to run for president in 2027. He hasn't declared any ambition yet.
That is what
so
he
we'll
was.
have to wait and see. Maybe by some fluke of chance, he might support someone else. I mean, you don't know for sure, do you?
When we get to that bridge, we'll be fair to him. But I dare him to announce tomorrow that he's supporting Peter Obi or any other person in that coalition.
Yeah, but the point is that it doesn't make things better for the PDP, though, does it? I mean, what can the PDP now say? Because beyond, individuals, Atiku or Wike or Obi or whatever, what can the PDP now say to Nigerians is the reason to still believe in the party? Because all they can see is internal fights. I mean, you're sitting here, perhaps rightly so, but you're still sitting here. And I mean, it's all about, oh, well, this person or that person or whatever. And these are, solid members, I mean, very sort of influential members of your party. What can you say to Nigerians is the reason to still believe in the party? Because all they can see is internal fights that have bent and twisted the PDP completely out of shape, defections that have severely weakened the party, and it comes across as no longer being able to operate even as an opposition party, talk less of actually winning a national election.
I will respond by reminding you, Charles, that PDP is 27 years today, and the longest Nigeria has had throughout democratic experience, even if it is to be started from the First Republic. No political party has lasted within this period. And that was the period, 16 years of its managing the affairs of this country. Nigeria, as at 2015, when we lost power, was the third fastest economy in the world, next to only Qatar and China, and the fastest in Africa, fastest growing economy. Nigerians must be reminded this, and then we will govern this country on a single digit inflation. We conceded, the loss of power even before counting was over. We demonstrated statesmanship. We created democratic ambience and civil, freedom for Nigerians, for this democracy to flourish and thrive. We conducted elections and allowed the umpire, INEC, to dictate, the pace.
Well, some would argue against that.
Whether they argue, the last exercise was what we will use here to describe how.
You mean the 2015?
The 2015, where a sitting president could have, influenced the outcome, but he accepted and considered defeat and called on the victor even before INEC officially, announced the result, to come, send his team, for transition proper. What is important for Nigerians is for them to reconcile the situation they have today with what obtained when PDP was in power. And you did ask earlier whether
was it, I don't mean to interrupt you and I apologize,
yes,
but was it actually the PDP or was it some individuals? Because what we're seeing from the PDP is that, and that appears to be the case with most parties in Nigeria, that they don't have a solid ideology, they don't have a foundation on which to stand. And basically, individuals come, they make a difference, the party piggybacks off that difference. But once you're no longer in power, it completely dissipates your energy, because that is what essentially has happened to the PDP. It lost power in 2015, and it has been a case of completely diminishing from election to election, right up to where you are right now. And people would argue that the reason for that is because the PDP doesn't have any foundation beyond winning an election and being in power, and then sort of revolving around the person who is sitting in Aso Rock. And given that you haven't been able to do that, I mean, you're essentially, tessellated.
It will not be a correct narrative for the PDP, because it will take a PDP for it to last even after losing power for a decade now. It's still there, and we are priding ourselves as we speak today with 10 performing governors who have carved niches for their states and who have stood out in the crowd relative to what obtains in the APC-governed states. So our governors have done so well, it doesn't matter if we are receiving a lot of pressure and influence of the ruling party APC for the few elements that are cowed, in their midst. Our people have still been speaking, and PDP is still not intimidated. We truly will come out triumphant. Some of the crises that we battled with, including the recent ones, we have come out of it, Charles, if you ask me. Because it has to do...
haven't. That's why people are leaving your party.
It had to do with the national secretary of the party.
Yeah.
That was essentially what brought the division in the party, and the matter escalated to a level.
One of the divisions.
Well, one of the divisions, but that was the top on the rank. It divided the party and the hierarchy across... but then we got it right recently when we had our NEC, which will be repeated in a couple of weeks. By the 23rd, 24th, and 25th, you will see a different PDP. It will come out triumphant. It will yet again rekindle faith with Nigerians, and will give the ruling party fight of its money. By the time we have, the convention committee in place, new set of leadership is put in place, you will see a new PDP. and we will come back triumphant again, and there will be light at the end of the tunnel. Rest assured, I will come back here and let you know that I've told you this a few weeks ago when I came here. PDP is beyond an individual. We had at a time, if you recall, where a former president tore his membership card of the party. No sooner we saw him coming back into the PDP. It is the Trojan and the elephant in the house. The more you look, the less you understand. If we are talking about democracy and you leave PDP out of it in Nigeria, then you haven't started. PDP is the hope of Nigerians, and I can boast my chest and tell you that it will bring surprises in 2027.
Right. But at this stage, where do things go from here for the PDP? I mean, is it all about survival, or is there any second wind that could move the party beyond that and actually help it to thrive again? And we think about the reconciliation efforts, for example, of the former Senate President, Bukola Saraki, and I wonder what's going on with all of that.
Yeah, we're doing it. That's why I told you. There are some things that are not for public consumption, so we don't let the cat out of the bag for our opposition not to get rid of it. Because, we agree that the ruling party is dissipating energy, doing all within its powers, and deploying the arsenals of divisiveness across all the political parties, so it can silence voices of dissent. It has done so with Labour, it is doing so with the PDP, it's doing so with the SDP. You will recall the SDP was the first place where they said they were going, and they realized that the SDP is already in the pocket of the ruling party, and they now went and brought the ADC. I only reminded them a few days ago when I spoke with, I think AIT, I said, what makes them think the ruling party is not in the ADC as well? So it's a very serious situation, but the only political party that has the capacity to withstand that storm is the PDP. And that's why we still have 10 powerful governors doing so well in their respective states, and would spring surprises. Some of these things are not yet for public consumption, but we are creating national nights to see how we will come out of the quagmire. But I did agree with you. We came out of a storm, we suffered some problems, but we are navigating the water safely.
Well, to be honest with you, Nigerians would be very pleased if your party got back on its feet, because this country needs a solid opposition to speak on behalf of the Nigerian people.
It's an obligation upon us, and we will not let Nigerians down, God willing.
Well, we shall watch and see.
I'm an advocate of change of government. To be more precise, change of presidency. And why? Because as far as I'm concerned, the present administration have not performed optimally. All right? So that is just it. But be that as it may, if I must tell you, if I'm to choose a preferred candidate or somebody I will want to have as the next president, I will tell you is Peter Obi. All right? And these are my reasons for saying that. Forget about all this cheap talks or whatever. My reason number one is the fact that the presidency of Peter Obi is going to put to rest a misconception. It's going to prove or demystify a misconception that have lingered in the minds of a good number of Nigerians, which is the fact that an Igbo man cannot be trusted with presidency. If you give him presidency, he's going to divide Nigeria, right? And you find most of this concept or ideologies in the northern part, right? So I believe that will put to rest that. Secondly, it's going to put to rest as well the agitation of the IPOPs towards the fact that they feel marginalized. Though the fact is arguable or whatever, but that will put to rest as well. Because when that is ensured now, it will be highly delusive or unreasonable for somebody to come out and say that we need to go. This were not included, it's not working, right? Not as if they have pushed Nigerians into a situation where we are panicking, we need to whatever, but get waiting we never see. Get waiting we never try, right? So let's try it and see if what people have in regards to the Igbos is true or not. And thirdly, in regards even the scorecards of the man in question, Peter Obi, comparatively, I think when you look at his scorecard seems to be better than a lot of other contenders. All right? In as much as that is not what I bank on, I don't bank on that absolutely. Because I've seen, that is why I say antecedents doesn't count. Because I've seen where good antecedents went bad. And at the same time, I've seen where somebody with bad antecedents turned good. So the fact is, only time will tell that. But I just believe that the more we try, the better our chances than sitting down to celebrate mediocrity. even when it's glaring in the eyes of everybody.